And we are back with another podcast for all you great listeners out there. Yes, another great one. This one's going to be real good because we actually had like a full show before last week's podcast was even out, which was pretty impressive. So we had to like actually choose what we wanted for this week.
Nah, you had Morbius at the top of the list. I know that.
Oh, of course. All the hype is focused on Morbius this show.
The fact that you got so many messages being like, dude,
God.
did you watch the trailer? And you're like, oh, I should probably watch this.
Yeah, I should probably watch this, I guess. the explosion of hype surrounding Morbius, which obviously we'll talk about, including everything else like, I guess, troubled development for Hawkeye, some Eternal stuff, 2 Doctor Strange topics because... well, we got to split them up in 2 because they're so vastly different. So it's going to be a good show. And as always, this is your host, Armin. Yeah.
You have not been playing Call of
Duty?
No,
I haven't been playing much, really. What have I been playing? Grand Theft Auto 5. I've been replaying that. But me and Tristan talk about that on the gaming podcast over for members. If you guys want to hear my stories with that, go check that out. And Tristan and I actually just ran down our top 10 games of the decade.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. That was a pretty long one, too, actually.
I think that segment alone lasted more than any of our podcasts on here because we had so much to talk about. So that was
you had to
good.
choose 10 through a decade. Like,
yeah,
that's
one
actually
for each year.
Really hard.
One for each year plus a game of the decade, which was pretty good. So you guys can check that out. And there's some other content on there, which brings me to introduce the other members here. We got Mitch.
What's up? You can find me at Mitch692.
So what have you been up to, Mitch?
I've been shiny hunting on the Pokemons.
Oh, yes.
Can't even screenshot anything. Just,
Who cares? Who cares? That's not what's important here.
Mitch
The
sent
important
us
thing
photos.
is I found my shiny Dreepy. That's all that matters.
So I've gotten a little bit more into that since I said the last time I couldn't get into it. I have to just kind of like push my way through it, but it is enjoyable when I play it. So I don't know.
I put it on the actual TV for the first time. I was like, this is really weird.
It looks good.
Playing Pokemon for like 20 years on a tiny little screen, and now it's big.
Mm-hmm. It looks super crisp. So there is that. Also joined by Tristan.
Hey guys, you can catch me at SJ Chance.
So what have you been doing other than what we talked about in the gaming cast?
And I'm just getting back into everything. Been gone for the months because of work and the holiday season. Now that's over. Back into regular things, just trying to get over a cold right now.
Yeah. Ooh, damn. And then also we're joined by Shay.
Hey guys, you can find me at Michelle1602, and I have been killing myself in the gym preparing for a show in August, and then this Saturday, January 18th, testing for my secondary black belt. So I'm like just been killing myself at the gym a lot, and attempted to play Witcher on the Switch on the TV, and it looked horrendous.
I sent that to them. I was like, out of all the places she could play, she puts it on the Switch on a 62-inch TV.
Yeah.
How was the mud people?
Oh my god, it was
dude,
so
it's
gross.
so bad.
I put it back on this little tiny screen. I'm like, oh, that's so much prettier. But then it made me like go, okay, since I'm going to be mostly downstairs, I should probably just play it on PlayStation. I'm only at level 5. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
easy.
like
That's like a couple hours, not even.
I haven't gotten very far.
So hopefully you're all having a good week, day, month, whatever it is, decade, year.
Beginning of a new time.
What is this? What do we reset? Welcome to I don't know what is.
Or 2020.
This is the reboot.
This is the reboot of society.
Yeah, we almost had the reboot of society.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Hopefully you guys enjoy the show. Hopefully we'll see you in the members section. But for now, we got a full show, so let's actually get to the full show. It was a strange week because the big first news we got after the last podcast was a bit strange.
You had to say strange.
You made the same pun twice.
I know.
I got last week.
really
Really,
did.
really good pun.
Look,
It was bad.
I'm really stretching here, okay? But hey, Doctor Strange lost its director, so that's pretty big.
Yep.
How unfortunate, huh?
It's a bit unexpected. Well, not unexpected. That's a massive lie. If you look at his tweets recently, he's kind of like, yeah, it's
Oh, yeah,
not really.
Derrickson's been kind of disagreeing with Marvel Studios, and really, it was December 15th where he threw them under the bus, being like, "You guys are like pretty much destroying art by mandating release times." It's like, oh yeah, this guy was gonna get booted sooner or later. So
I take it everyone saw the Oscar Isaac tweet as well.
Oh god, yeah, that was pretty.
It's just like, oh,
yeah,
that's not good.
So
I'm lost with what tweets. I don't.
Right.
do
Well,
tweets.
Oscar Isaac did an interview for Star Wars, and essentially he said he would never work for Disney again unless it's at gunpoint. So Derrickson retweeted that review or that interview and said, "Thank God for Oscar Isaac."
Yep.
So there's that one, and then the previous one was just that, like Armin said, studio mandated release dates, like destroy movies.
Yep. So
they're burying themselves.
I mean, they couldn't come into agreement with whatever's happening. I mean, obviously Disney with Star Wars, that's a whole thing we don't want to get into here because God knows we could go into that. But the whole Derrickson thing is interesting because he's had, 4 years to work on this script?
But is it 4 years, though? Because he would have only been able to start it once Endgame's script is done and locked in.
Okay, so...
And the way Marvel Studios work is the script's never really locked in.
True.
Like, there's a really good interview. He was at the New York Film... Feige was at the New York Film Academy, and like they're asking him questions, and he's saying, like, yeah, the script's never really locked in.
Yeah.
Like, it's just constantly changing every day. So.
Well, he said even like when they're on set, they're constantly changing the script.
Yeah.
But I think it's safe to say that the general idea of what the sequel should be, they probably have to have that figured out, right? So if he needs... If, Marvel set a date, or Marvel Disney set a date for next year in May. It's their big summer kickoff. It's the one they want to make $1 billion. It stands to reason that he at some point was like, oh yeah, I should have it ready by then. Okay, let's confirm this day because they only announced that as a date this summer. So I'm guessing he was falling behind. Marvel Studios needs it done because they can't shift the entire phase over just for him because there's already studio, like, we know as soon as he's done that film, Taika is more or less going to take over in the same location, and they're going to be shifting around and moving pieces because, they rotate studios and lots and everything. So one thing falls behind, the rest are going to fall behind. So it's like, if you can't meet the date, we got to get rid of you because... And
actually, Feige addresses that in the New York Film Academy interview. He's like, yeah, part of the reason why we're probably successful is because it's the case of like, we have a date, the movie's out this date.
Yup.
Like, it's very rare you're going to get a delay on that. So, maybe like WandaVision and the Loki show played a part in it. I know people online are kind of like saying, no, WandaVision is a factual like player. This is why. It's like, he wouldn't have known about it before. It's like, no, he would have. He knew exactly what he was getting into.
Yeah.
So.
Like, they didn't just announce Loki and WandaVision like off the cuffs to surprise him. Like, we know they plan stuff years in advance, and they're like, okay, this is how it's going to go, and things can change slightly, but...
They probably sat there, and even when they were like, all right, we're trying to find a director, and they were sitting there and talking to him, being like, this is our vision, this is where we're going, can you do this? And at that point, he was like, yeah, I could do this.
Right, because he originally signed on only for the first film, and then he was like, oh, well, I'll be sticking around for the sequel a little bit after the first film, so... He must have known what was coming, which is a very weird scenario. It's like, I don't...
Because you've also, or they also had that giant creative conference meeting in October in LA. I think it was October. So he would have known about WandaVision because obviously they had like the writers and the directors there.
Yeah.
So...
It's a lot of things I've been noticing, and it's not just this particular thing. A lot of things I've been seeing when it comes to Disney. Like, if somebody sits there and they have one bad experience, or just one, I didn't get what I wanted the way I wanted, they try to throw Disney completely under the bus. And it's like, do you see how many directors have had the most amazing time with Disney? Or any of the like lots of that, and then you have one person who's sitting there and it's like, I didn't like this. I
think it just has to do something with they thought they would have more control after the success of the first one.
And time
Well,
again,
he did. You know, the whole like, oh, it's going to be a scary movie, not a horror movie like everyone says it's going to be.
Scary movie.
Derrickson specifically said scary movie, so like he obviously had some kind of control. It's just probably more than likely the mandated release date.
I think he also tried to maybe Edgar Wright it to try to make him more his way, and like, that doesn't fall in with the formula. Like, you can't make a movie that doesn't conform to the laws and playground of the MCU, because it'd be like, for example, if they were to get like Chris Nolan to make like this super grounded thing in the MCU that's like, okay, and now I'm going to ignore what's happened in the rest of the MCU. It's like, that doesn't work.
It's almost like the slight disconnect between the Netflix ground TV show and the MCU universe, because they mention things, but you never see. Wouldn't all of those blocks of New York City be like still
right? What happened
out?
To the snap and all that? It's like it's never addressed. We don't know the time placements. It's like, I don't know. It's a weird scenario. I just think he was falling behind, and they're like, look, if you can't get this rolling in front of a camera a year out, we're way behind on schedule. Either walk and we'll replace you, or, you know, meet this date. And he couldn't do it. So it's, I don't know.
And also you see like everyone start turning on Marvel, and Feige's saying like Feige's see now, he doesn't know what he's doing now.
Yeah, which is nuts. It's like the dude's had 23 movies that have all made money and all been like fairly decent successes. He's only lost one director in those, or two directors technically.
Yeah, and like
up until this point,
like the original director for Ant-Man, and like how that happened.
My favorite one that I saw that people were like, Disney is killing creativity, Scott Derrickson should go to Warner Brothers. I'm like, what? Dude.
That's the big thing. It's like, oh, this person left Marvel, or Patty Jenkins left Thor and did Wonder Woman. Edgar Wright left Marvel. And it's just kind of like, well, he didn't go to Warner Brothers. But
okay, well then how about what they did to Snyder or Ayer or multiple Flash directors?
I mean, they're letting an AI make the decisions now, so I don't know how they're going to...
Yeah, that's a bit of a...
Yeah, so you better wish that you gotta somehow like slip some discs or some extra gigabytes to that AI system, like get on its good side, and then maybe
just
you'll get
slip
picked.
it RAM under the table,
overclock it, overclock the DC section. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens. We'll talk a little bit more about Doctor Strange later on, but certainly I'm excited to see who the new director is going to be. I mean, if I had my pick, if they're so happy with WandaVision, get the director from that, and there you go.
I mean, yeah, why not? Why not? But at the same time, you know, like, people are worrying about the delay, like, or this getting delayed. They got 5 months.
Yeah,
they're fine. They got what's his name? Who did Ant-Man?
Peyton Reed.
That's fine. They got Peyton Reed like 3 weeks after Wright left. Yep. So, you know, they'll go back to the original list directors they had for the first Doctor Strange. Right. So it's not like they're short for names.
And I do want to remind people, Ant-Man was so far ahead of schedule despite starting late that it moved the November release date to that summer date.
Yeah.
Like, that's how confident they were. They're like, oh, wow, Peyton Reed gets us. Okay, do your thing. And then they're like, wow, we're going to move the date by like 8 months because we're so far ahead of schedule. It's like, okay, fair enough. You guys got this figured out. So, you know, I'm trusting what they're doing. It's unfortunate Derrickson is gone because I really like Doctor Strange, and like, I would have liked to see.
And it's always going to have that stigma now of like, what would it have been like? Is it the same movie? It's like, I imagine it's going to be the same movie. It's just going to be slightly different. Yep. So obviously the director's going to come on and want to put their own stamp on it. But like, you're always going to have that like, oh, what would it have been like? You know, I bet Derrickson.
It would have been a true horror movie, man.
Yeah, that's going to be what's going to happen.
We know that's coming though.
Jump scare shit.
So does this then potentially put a little bit of a negative outlook on Doctor Strange 2? Not obviously people like us who are optimistic at what can come of a new direction.
No, here's the thing. The average Joe who's going to eat 3 buckets of popcorn has no idea that Derrickson was even fired. They're not going to even know. So, like...
Okay, that's true.
To them, it's just, oh, it's the magical guy from Marvel Avengers. Okay, I like him. I'll go see the new one. Like, typically, whenever I talk to, like, the more casual people, they have no idea who directs anything. So it's like, I think to us, it's kind of like, oh, but I don't think they'll make a big deal of it, you know? It's...
Also, how many MCU trilogies have been made by the same director?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. None. So there you go. Doctor Strange will be back to talk about the director once they get the hypest topic of the week. the Morbius trailer dropped, and I know Mitch is dying to talk about this one.
Well, you're breaking up a little bit.
I actually thought it was really funny in the fact that, one, they've released a photo, then another photo.
They did not.
Oh, they did not release those shit. Those leaked.
That photo was leaked.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
It was not supposed to be leaked, but someone
said I'm gonna ruin their whole career.
someone got trusted, and that person won't get trusted again. So
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because here we are. We finally got the trailer, and first thing in the morning, you were waiting for the trailer. They forgot that the Oscar nominations were coming, so they delayed the trailer.
That was amazing on Sony's part.
Then you get bombarded by your people asking your thoughts. So your shill worked. People are actually talking about Morbius.
So here's the thing. I want to
see, that's a bigger problem in itself. There's so many ableists out there. Stop enabling.
Oh no, I'm the villain here. So in the trailer, I'm a Morbius fan. They do have the idea of who Michael Morbius is and how he gets his powers. It's more or less all there with a slight Sony twist. Like they straight up took a scene from Batman Begins and Dracula Untold, and they're like, so there's got to be bats surrounding him. And
I mean, it's literally Catwoman's origin.
Yeah, that a little bit too. I mean, they're going to attack him. It's going to infuse with his blood. He's experimenting because he has a rare genetic disease. That all checks out. It's interesting to see how they're building Michael Morbius up, and I think they got the characterization down, which, again, as a Morbius fan, I like that they're not, venoming this too much. It seems like that this is...
See.
Yeah, it seems like this is more comic accurate, which I like, but at the same time, the biggest thing everybody's going to want us to talk about, there's obviously... That's got to be the Vulture Michael Keaton. There's no way it's somebody else.
I hope it's someone else.
I do too, but
it's not gonna be. But I hope it's someone else.
Here's the thing, though. You look at his outfit. He was in jail the last time we saw him, so we don't know when this actually takes place in the storyline.
Well, it's got to be after Far From Home because the murderer thing.
Yeah.
But how is he? Is he out of jail? He's in a facility where he's a scientist? Because that doesn't look like a jail. It looks like a high-tech...
I imagine the movie's... Because you see Morbius in the orange jumpsuit, so he's obviously going to prison as well. So obviously they just shove everyone in the same place. So I imagine we're going to see him break out in this one. It's going to be after Far From Home.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
Well, it's got to be multiple time periods as well because of the genetic disease and experience. So they're going to jump around 3 or 4 maybe?
Maybe,
probably. Yeah. I just want to know, what costume Peter Parker's going to show up in because of that one picture.
If he shows up in the Raimi suit,
it's
not canon.
Yeah, he's going to show up in the Raimi suit.
100%.
Well, remember, there was heavy rumor suggesting that part of reshoots and rewrites that they wanted was to add Spider-Man in. Now, this is the Sony thing. Whether they get Tom Holland for Venom 2 and maybe they can do something on the set of that to work it in here, who the hell knows because it's Sony. The bigger question is, again... what is happening, though? Because none of it makes sense. Let's say, and there's a pretty good case to back it up that when this trailer was being finalized in the visual effects, that it was during the dispute time with, Disney. So they didn't use Tom Holland or anything because it was in the middle of that, and it was it's done. We'll just put this out.
Do you really think they would have been working on this trailer that far out?
I mean, the visual effects for the movie, yeah.
I mean, the VFX, sure, but the actual editing of the trailer?
I mean, it's Sony. I don't know what the hell they're doing.
I mean,
they don't know what they're
that's
doing.
like 6 months difference. That's a long time to work on the trailer.
It's even in the beginning of the trailer, it's kind of funny because you have in association with Marvel logo, and then for the studio that brought you, the Spider-Man movies and Venom.
Yeah, talk about taking credit for someone else as well.
Well,
hey, we did this thing.
He's it's because they distributed. So technically they are the ones who brought it to you. They may not have touched it, but they brought it to you. It's like a waiter. A waiter will give you your food, but they did not make it.
Now imagine if the waiter took credit for the chef's work. That's
I was going to say, it's literally the delivery boy taking credit for the takeaway.
Yeah.
It's just I made this.
Though, in at least here, some delivery people do make the pizzas here. So...
Right, it's the Domino's delivery guy.
Right.
Credit for what.
So with that in mind, I mean, here's what kind of gets me. Let's say hypothetically, or he probably does, Tom Holland's Spider-Man is going to have to get a new suit when he jumps on over, right? And obviously in the third movie, he's going to have a new suit anyways, so whatever. Couldn't Sony have at least been like, hey, Insomniac, we know you have 10 trillion concept arts for one of these suits. Give us one to slap on the wall.
Well, why the
No, it's easier to Google, though.
Literally, they Googled and horizontal flipped an image.
I was going to say Google and flip, like, it's so bad.
And now here's the thing, too. Now you have all of the negative, like, aura people that you may like something, but because it's not the Raimi version, you are the worst person on Earth.
Oh, Spider-Man Twitter has been
Don't mention the Raimi Brigade.
I was going to say the Spider-Man Twitter has just, and it's actually just Spider-Man Online has been all over, like, in disagreement. Well, like, of course, it's another Spider-Man thing. But regardless of what people think, it is Tom Holland's, that's what they're referencing. Like, as clear as day, they're trying to backdoor into the MCU, which
is weird.
And I don't think it's going to work.
Yeah.
Like, let's just look at it this way. It's the Netflix.
Yup.
You have a Venn diagram of what's canon and what's not, and in the middle of that Venn diagram is Spider-Man.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, well, how are they going to proceed with it? Because, like,
in the same way Netflix did. It's like, we'll mention it, but they ain't going to mention us.
Do you think Sony can legally, in Morbius, be like, oh, look, there's Avengers Tower? They clearly can't. Like,
I mean, Avengers Tower doesn't exist, so it's not a problem.
Or whatever the building was, because they can't put it in the
skyline. Seeing as they own that new building.
Oh.
So, like, here's something that I can see Sony doing. That picture is the only reference to Spider-Man you get in the entire movie.
Well,
apart from Keaton, because you're not going to have Vulture in there and not mention.
What I can see them doing it. I could see them not even calling him Vulture, saying his name. He's just there making plot points, making very subtle, like,
I'm telling you,
I'm a bird.
It's going to be Aldrich Thomas.
I'm a bird.
Aldrich Thomas the parrot. That's it. It's
it's gonna.
See, why not just say Birdman?
Bird. Yeah, it's Birdman.
I like that's how I feel like it's going to be. It's like Michael Keaton's not gonna say I'm a vulture. They'll be like, what are you here for? I was stealing some things with a big wingspan, like some BS God. Like that.
Some Gotham-worthy line of a nod at the camera and laugh.
And then, like, we're never going to see Spider-Man. It's just only going to be his pictures around and people being like, he's a murderer.
From what can be now confirmed, because the same source that says Spider-Man was going to have a poster on the wall in a trailer, they said we're definitely getting, J.K. Simmons back to be doing those reports on the radio and TV, talking about Spider-Man. So...
You'll see Holland's face.
Yeah, I'm just like, couldn't they get the MCU render instead of the Raimi one?
I mean, you would have thought the fact that they got a game that they own, took a screenshot of a suit that, the Holland suit is in that game.
It is.
You already went to the game in the first
both
place.
versions.
Guys,
just take either one.
I bet you the person thought that was the right outfit. And they're like, "Oh, it's this Spider-Man one, right? I mean, here, click there."
I bet after all, like if you really want to know, the Raimi Brigade, like pestered Insomniac so much every day. Where's the suit? Where's the suit?
Yeah,
where's the suit? Where's the suit?
Added,
until Christmas came, and then they gave it to him.
So
I mean, that suit was coming.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, it was, and it was just legal things. And I'm trying to understand what the process of thinking for this was and how it got in there. It's like, and even without
Rothman, there was no thinking.
Yeah, actually. And it just
this is a Rothman move.
It just raises more questions as well, like questions without any answers.
It raises questions that shouldn't need to be asked.
Mm-hmm.
And you haven't really got to ask them because it's kind of obviously just goofed up and it's just a poster there.
Yep.
But it's just one of those Sony things.
Yeah, and make no mistake, I know people are trying to be like, oh, Spider-Man 3 Sinister Six. No, it's not.
I mean, it could be.
Sony has been developing that standalone Sinister Six, and even in October and November, interviews with Amy Pascal, she's like, when Drew Goddard is ready, I'm ready for him to direct that movie. I think I know exactly what they're doing, and once he jumps over into the Sony solo films, that's when we're getting the Sinister Six. I don't think they're going to let Marvel Studios do it.
I have said that if they put Morbius in an MCU canon movie, that would be more what they want. So, like, the Sinister Six is clearly going to be in the Spider-Man movies. And unless it's the third, like, the second movie for the New Deal, so which it could very well be.
Then who do
like,
you have?
You're gonna... Who do you have? You have Vulture, you have a Shocker, you have Mysterio, Morbius, Venom, and someone else.
Do you think
whoever's
Feige would willingly add Venom and Morbius into the next
I think
Spider-Man
if Feige wants to keep Spider-Man in these movies going, yeah, he does.
Retroactively, we're adding Venom to the Watchathon then? Oh boy.
Well,
I mean, you could watch it without that. But...
I will.
I will.
Here's the thing, though. Do you think that Feige has to be the one who bends over?
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like Sony's at the point that they're probably pushing the lines.
Yeah, but Sony has the high ground here.
They do.
They own the cinematic IP for that. Or the IP.
Whatever agreement Feige made to keep Spider-Man in for 2 more appearances went just to please MCU fans so the story doesn't get dropped out of nowhere. He clearly had to bend over backwards. Oh, that's unfortunate, but it's like...
I mean, here's the thing, like, it depends how much control does Feige have on the Sony ones, or the in association ones. Because if they start listening to him going forward... No, because Disney have a financial stake in it now, so it's not going to be like as bad as Venom, I imagine. Morbius is still probably going to, because this movie looks crap. But I reckon like Venom 2, like a Morbius 2 and whatever else they do, you're probably going to have a bit more connective tissue in there.
There's going to be a Morbius 2?
I mean, this is going to make money, let's be honest.
Yeah, it is.
Venom made money purely based on the fact that they kept debating people.
Like, can Blade just like kill him after the first one?
I mean, sure, why not? That's another thing. Yeah, I bet you'll get Morbius and Blade.
Oh, Lord, no, please. I can't.
Which is really unfortunate because Jared Leto working with anyone else is really like poor other person.
I mean, we'll see how. I mean, I think it's going to depend on the success of Morbius, really. And if Morbius is a huge success, Kevin Feige will be like, look, let's do this. Let's just get it done and keep Spider-Man in for another 8 movies or whatever, you know, and we'll work together.
So it's not going to make $1 billion, but you'll make money.
Oh, yeah, totally. I wouldn't be surprised if it makes like Ant-Man 1 money, where we're like, oh, wow, that's actually going to be a big deal, isn't it? Like,
hey, Apple, can you just buy Sony already?
That would only work if Apple got rid of the Columbia Pictures name.
Yeah.
If Columbia Pictures stays around, then they'd keep the rights.
Yeah, it'd be like when Fox was bought, and they're obviously scrapping Constantine Films, which owned Fantastic Four and such. So it's legality. But yeah, Morbius. I assume what do we got? Like 4 months, 5 months till release?
Not long enough.
Not long enough till release. Okay.
So how many more trailers do you guys think we might get?
2.
1.
I'm gonna say 2. And
you'll get tickets on sale, and that's about it, I reckon.
Well, okay, so I'm counting Special Look as a trailer as well, kind of like what Black Widow recently did. So,
see, I don't count that. Fair enough.
All right, so yeah, 1 more, then 1 more Go Home trailer. So yeah, but yeah,
literally, Sony Go Home.
Sony, get out of here. Oh, okay.
Please.
So, I mean,
take your Catwoman Underworld movie with you. No.
Sure. I mean, I'm assuming we'll talk more about Morbius once we know what's happening with Venom 2, which I don't know. Nobody knows.
Venom 2's got everything going for it with Andy Serkis at the minute, and obviously Feige having a stake in that movie.
True.
You know, it could be decent.
It could be.
That all depends on Sony
and how much money they're willing to spend on a wig for Harrelson this time around.
Hopefully, none.
Just get him bald, because that would make more sense.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. So there you go. Back to some Doctor Strange talk. Well, the synopsis. Mitch, what's up with the synopsis? What's it giving us a hint towards, and where's this film headed?
Right, it says, after the events of Avengers Endgame, Dr. Stephen Strange continues his research on the Time Stone, but an old friend turned enemy puts an end to his plans and causes Strange to unleash unspeakable evil.
Okay.
Which So Time Stone, clearly. Mordo, clearly,
Yep.
which I think was kind of obvious.
Yeah.
Unspeakable Evil. Could be
Dormammu?
Nightmare, could be Dormammu, could be both.
Guys, it's Demon Bear.
Sure.
I mean, hopefully not, but why not? Maybe that's why Derek's left. He's like, no.
I mean, could you imagine if New Mutants comes out, does like 500 million, and they're about to shoot Doctor Strange 2? They're like, I best we gotta work these mutants in. I mean, I don't know. Okay, so yeah, Mordo, that's a guarantee, so that's good, because I've been excited to see more Mordo. The other one, Dormammu or Nightmare?
I reckon.
I mean...
If you're going for a scary movie, it has to be Nightmare.
Yeah.
Why would you do anyone else? He's literally the Freddy Krueger of the Marvel Universe. Like, just do that.
I don't know, like, it all depends on, because it kind of goes back and forth now. Will any elements of this change? Because, like you said in the previous one where, you know, Scott Derrickson left, when a new director comes on, they do have to add some of their own spin and elements on there. Like,
I think that your general outline is going to stay the same.
Just his own beats.
What I find interesting is they don't even mention Wanda.
That's true,
So how big of a part is she playing?
Huh. Yeah, that is...
Or could they be holding off on releasing that part of the synopsis because they want people to watch WandaVision? That's what's going to lead.
Then you would have put Wanda in the synopsis then, surely.
Not if you don't want to...
Following the events of Disney Plus's WandaVision, you don't give away anything because they're being really tight-lipped on WandaVision.
Yeah, they are.
So whatever, something massive going to happen in that. But you just, Wanda and Doctor Strange must team up to stop.
Well, I mean, let's be real. By the time we actually get the official press release for Doctor Strange, WandaVision will be out, and then the whole, advertising, the first trailer will have dropped for Doctor Strange, and then we're going to get the official big one that's sent to, like, all the major outlets and everything, not like one of these smaller ones, and they'll be able to touch more upon the plot to what it is. So I think this is, like, just a...
Because this comes from backstage,
right? This is like a basic,
Yeah, so it might not be like the proper official one, but it's like, if that's how it is, it's interesting that they're focusing more on Mordo and Unspeakable Evil and the Time Stone.
Yeah,
because I think everyone kind of figured he was going to get the Time Stone back at some point anyway, because it's like half of his powers in a sense,
right?
But...
And the fact that in this synopsis they don't even mention the multiverse, even though that's clearly the title, it's like you'd think that'd be like, and Stephen Strange finds himself in a multiverse of realities. I guess not. I don't know. Yeah,
maybe the Unspeakable Evil's Man Thing, because Man Thing's like intrinsically tied to the multiverse.
Dude, that would be amazing. Oh my god. Yeah. Well, Man Thing is something that they've wanted to do for a while, and since he ain't going to Hulu, or...
I was going to say, Marvel TV were working on Man Thing, but where that is now...
He was stuck in the hell that was the Sci-Fi Channel.
Oh! That sci-fi original movie. Oof. That was terrible. So yeah, well, with Doctor Strange then, I mean, what, if anything, changes? Because we clearly know, because just what Kevin Feige said, there's more to it than what they're leading on here. And I personally wouldn't bring back Dormammu just yet, because it's like, oh, he defeats him and another villain in the second one. It's like, oh, well.
Well, that depends on him. Maybe he's got to team up with Dormammu.
Okay.
To stop Nightmare, you have to, enemy of my enemies,
make
my
a
friends.
deal with the devil, technically, yeah.
Yeah. Make another deal, because he's already made a
True.
deal. And that way you can really flesh out how complicated that relationship is.
True.
That's just one way of taking it, but God knows what to do.
Or Dormammu could have been like the puppet behind Nightmare the whole time.
Yeah.
And it sits there, and then you have him being even more of a villain potentially for the third one, or whatever else they go forward with. Because
Dormammu's kind of got to be a through line through all of these movies.
Yeah,
it's like Strange's biggest thing, and kind of like you need to give Dormammu his due. He's not like Surtur and Thor, but
right, yeah, Surtur, oh boy.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting because if we have just this mini synopsis, is that's what I'm calling it. I feel like this is just one of 3 plots potentially within this movie.
We're gonna get one for each multiverse.
Exactly.
Because that's the thing, like, you have to have the multiverse of madness. There's a reason why this movie is called that. So obviously the madness part could be, if it is Nightmare, that's happening. And the multiverse part could be, that's the only way he's able to steal back another gem.
That, and also don't forget, unexpected character teased for this, Kevin Feige himself. So it's like, again, is the unexpected character, could it be as basic as, oh, Dormammu's back, because nobody's expecting it, but we all are? Or like, is it going to be the Doctor Doom thing, or whatever they do? So it's like...
Nah, it's not going to be Doom.
Yeah. No, probably not.
No.
If it is Doom, just imagine you guys all over the world are going to hear Armin squeal.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know, it could be Deadpool. I don't know, maybe that's how you do it.
Oh, please don't. That is scary. That is a horror movie.
No, what's going to happen is it's going to be Ryan Reynolds in his, what is it called? New Guy, Fresh Guy, whatever that movie is.
Fresh Guy. I'm going to call it that. Yes, so Fresh Guy.
So it's him from that movie gets taken out and put into a Deadpool costume. And he's like, wait, why? There you go. That's how you get Deadpool in. It's actually the video game guy.
Yeah. I guess we'll see what the hell they do with this. Very unknown. I mean, we'll know more with castings over the next couple months, so...
Especially
because believe it or not, despite not having a director, they are still casting.
Yeah, they're casting without director. That's the most Marvel Studios thing. It's like, no, this is... Whoever signs on, it's like, here's what you got to work with.
Yeah. And I say, people are shocked, and it's like, we have a Blade and nothing else.
Right?
Like, it's nothing new.
Dude, we
like,
had a Black Panther and a Spider-Man without directors, and like, come on, this is typical for Marvel Studios. Like, this is literally what they do.
It's typical for a lot of movies.
Yeah, it is becoming that. So, yeah, that's our Doctor Strange plot. So, what's up with Jeremy Renner?
I mean, a lot of things about.
What a loaded question, right? Apparently, he may or may not return for the Disney Plus series. It could be on indefinite hold. It might not happen, depending on where you look at what people are saying.
I was going to say, you had the rumor come out that it's indefinitely delayed, and then literally the next day it came out. It's like people going, no, Disney's saying otherwise.
Yeah, somebody from The Verge that's very connected was like, no, they told me they're not, but nothing's been said.
So it's a weird thing because a lot of people take indefinitely delayed as cancelled.
Yeah.
And if you label something as delayed indefinitely, like, that's one thing, you know. They could have taken it off the schedule purely for the fact that they still want Haley Steinfeld and Apple's not playing ball. Because obviously she must have a non-compete clause in her contract. So, you know, taking it off the schedule because you're not going to get her in time is not indefinitely delaying it. You're just moving production slightly.
Yeah.
And you just haven't got a date. So it could be that. And the wording from the original rumor could be like really off. But...
Also, people should be very well aware that over the course of this year, Marvel Studios will be shooting 3 to 4 Disney Plus series on top of 3 to 4 films at the same time. Like, can they really add another production on there? It's like, I have no doubt they could, but...
I mean, they were already going to have this going anyway.
Maybe just bump it a little back and wait and see, you know, and like maybe wait for her contract to come up because who knows what's happening, and let Jeremy Renner, you know, deal with his personal stuff that he's got to do, so...
I don't think Renner plays a part in this whatsoever.
Same. Yeah, I don't
like
think
if he did, they would have like kicked him to the curb months ago.
Exactly.
Because why would you like have that come out? He didn't really get that much traction, and then just suddenly go, "Oh yeah, no, you're gone." Mm-hmm. Obviously, it might be a little thing in the back of their minds, like let's just wait for it to blow over slightly. But I think the main thing is Steinfeld.
Yeah, they also don't want to sit there and pull the trigger when it comes to Jeremy Renner because they're going to be just basically doing the same thing they twice, actually. They did already. Because Disney kind of sat there and was like, you know what? We're not going to work with Johnny Depp and with
Johnny Depp and James Gunn.
Yeah, and James Gunn when it came to like pirates and stuff like that. And then here you go. Here's the real news. They're both innocent.
It's like whoops.
And it ruined both of their. Okay, it didn't.
Well,
Johnny Depp's career did get like hurt massively.
It did get sidelined, and
James Gunn, obviously, you could tell that they apologized, and he was very up to going back, and he was very reasonable about what happened. So that's the thing; they don't want to jump the gun when it comes to Jeremy Renner, and I really feel like they want Haley Steinfeld because she is a really great actress.
Oh, she's amazing.
She fits the Disney Channel original like stamina so well because of the fact that one, she can sing as well as she can act. So you
say she's an Oscar nominee. So.
Yeah, like they want her, and I feel like Hawkeye is one of those films or TV shows that can get pushed back a year or two and not suffer as much because he has such a following. And Kate Bishop also has such a following.
And not even that, like, out of the shows they're going to be shooting this year, which Moon Knight, She-Hulk, and Miss Marvel, guess what 3 of those are going to get renewed for multiple seasons? All 3. So, like,
I reckon Hawkeye will get another one.
Yeah, so it's like Hawkeye can also keep going. Like, I think whatever they announce, it's guaranteed for more seasons because it's going to be a huge hit. So it's like you don't need to just put everything out and shove it, in front of a camera if it's not ready. Like, let something breathe, work on it a little more, wait for things to fall into place as they will, and, good things will happen because it's kind of been like the Marvel way, and just things happen for a reason. So, like...
Yeah, and also, if they can't... Like, I don't see them not filming this year at all. There's no way. They're not going to delay this for like a year or two in the hopes they can get Steinfeld.
Right, exactly.
If they can't get Steinfeld, you're going to get an unknown as Kate Bishop.
Yep.
Fair enough. Old, reliable unknown. Right, great, do that. But, they can't sit there and wait on one person. That's ridiculous in that industry. Or the amount of millions you'd lose.
I mean, if they wouldn't wait for a director on a movie,
exactly, yeah.
Somebody they've been talking to and work with for better part of, like, the entire last phase, that's something. They're more than likely waiting to see what her hold on her contract is and if that gets rolling. If it does, they'll go with somebody else. If it doesn't, they'll scoop her up and she'll be in the Marvel wheelhouse for like a decade. So,
I bet you right now, by the end of the summer, this would have started.
Oh, I could totally see that.
By the end of the summer.
Yeah, I could see that. So, that's it for that topic. Once we know, I guess we'll be back. It won't surprise me if they announce her at San Diego Comic-Con if they can, and then start rolling right after it. I mean, that would just sort of make sense. Our final main topic here is going to be Marvel's Eternals. Mitch, I'll give you the honors here since you're the Eternals guy, and I know they talk about some interesting factors in here. So what's the synopsis say?
Right. Marvel Studios' The Eternals features an exciting new team of superheroes in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, ancient aliens who have been living on Earth in secret for thousands of years. Following the events of Avengers Endgame, an unexpected tragedy forces them out of the shadows to reunite against mankind's most ancient enemy, the Deviants.
Oh, boy.
So, you got your time frame. Like, they're obviously going to be going, thousands of years. We kind of knew that anyway. Mm-hmm. But, it's after Endgame. What the tragedy is, it could be the blip. I don't know.
Yeah. So
I could see it being, if it is after, though, Endgame, everybody came back from the blip. So I'm guessing it's not actually has to do with the blip. It has to do with Thanos being snapped out.
Possibly, because he is one of them.
Right, exactly.
Like, I feel like...
Which, for all we know, the tragedy could very well be something to do with his family.
Yeah, that's okay. I didn't even think of that.
Because I think Thena's a cousin to Thanos.
Okay.
So he's got a lot of close connections to that.
The thing is,
I was just thinking because didn't Thanos' mom try to kill him? So
yeah.
But that
would
was
have been
his mom. The rest of the family might like him.
Well, when I read the synopsis, the first thing that popped in my head was, wait, after Endgame. So to me, what I feel is we're going to catch up with the most human, quote-unquote, character, probably Black Knight, and then he'll
meet... the film's going to focus on Cersei and Whitman.
So
100%.
Those two meet, and then we're going to get some flashbacks. And every new character we meet, we're going to flash back to maybe their origin and their time settings. Let's go. Ancient Babylon. Here's that character. Oh, ancient Egypt. Here's that character and what it looked like to set up the modern day conflict and, and where they are today and what they need to unite against. Now, the Deviants, my knowledge of the comic version is very limited. And Feige said they're going to be unlike the comics, so I don't even know what to make of that then. Because
I think that just means they're not going to look like a bunch of freaks. They're going to look more human because they said that Druig's a deviant.
Okay.
And Druig's an Eternal. He's not a deviant, but I suppose it kind of makes sense to have your villain or one of your villains as a deviant. It kind of makes a bit more sense.
Mm-hmm.
But it means they get rid of Crow, which is kind of a shame because Crow was really cool, but. Also, it stops you having to say like, "Oh, the Deviants, Atlantis sank and they became the Atlanteans, and they somehow became people-looking, and not weird people monsters." So there's a bit more of an easier through line to trace there, but
that's true.
Yeah, I'm looking at what they look like. Yeah,
they are very Jack Kirby.
Yeah,
strict Jack Kirby.
Oh yeah.
For a movie they said they're going full Jack Kirby, it's kind of disappointing that they're not going full Jack Kirby, but I'll wait and see what they're going to give us. But
I mean,
I can see it being a bit like a Black Panther with how they do the history though.
Yeah, that would make sense.
You get like the first act is like a lot of like the backstory and like jumping through time. And then second and third act is all modern day.
Well, since we're going to be jumping through time and doing all that, do you think we possibly get a mention of Wakanda or anything? Or is that just like, nah, we don't even know about it? It's just like...
I think we're more likely going to get Atlantis. We know about Wakanda.
Oh, Atlantis, yeah.
There's not much of a connection, I think, between Wakanda and the Eternals, but Atlantis,
Oh, Atlantis, totally. Yeah.
So, plus, if they have Namor back, yeah, why not set him up now?
Exactly. Why not show Atlantis and maybe the downfall will be like the floods that sank Atlantis. You could quickly show it in a flashback like Wakanda. It's like, oh, okay.
I say because like what you could do is I think it was Neil Gaiman's run. Cersei had like a memory, or they all had their memory wiped, so they didn't know they were Eternals. But Cersei was the one that took the longest to come back and regain her memories. So you could do it a bit like Captain Marvel, where they're like, this is a picture of you, you doing this and that, but you go into it a bit more. So like, you take her through a museum and like she starts seeing things in different time periods, and then she gets the flashbacks and whatever.
Oh, that'd be great.
So
that's one way of taking it, but
the Deviants even have deviant mutants. So there's even more of a chance then that the Eternals...
Oh, they're totally setting up mutants.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way they're not. Like...
I'm saying, like, the X gene comes from Celestials, and they put them in both, so, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, and then, okay, so if it's a threat that, they have to come together and fight, is the threat going to be a giant Celestial attacking Earth? Like,
I hope to God it is.
Because that would be like, wait, don't we need the Avengers for this then? Or
no,
like
way above the pay grade. Way above the pay grade.
I want a scene where freaking Falcon just looks out his window. He goes, nah, just sits back down.
No. What he does is
Falcon wouldn't get near it. You get like a massive headache.
He opens his curtain and then just slowly closes it and sits back down and sips his coffee.
Nope.
Yeah. He's just like, I'm going to turn on the TV and let this resolve itself.
Next time.
I don't think that it's going to be a Celestial unless they have the ability to literally wipe everybody's mind. Because, like, unless it's on its way to Earth and Earth doesn't know about it.
I think that's the way to do it, yeah.
Because if you put it on Earth... You now have to explain why none of the Avengers or anybody came to attempt, or Captain Marvel came to attempt.
And we have to spend another decade of TV shows going when the Giant showed up. But never.
Well, they do. It does say in the synopsis that they're aliens, which I don't know how to take that because they're not. Right. Just that they are humans, but. There are offset. The Titans on Titan are kind of aliens, but it depends how they take it. So it could very well be a Celestial. It was the Neil Gaiman run again, I think, but there was a dreaming Celestial that was just underground in San Francisco. So you could maybe do that on Titan, and like the whole battle for the stones on Titan has woken this thing up. And you could do it that way, or you could do what Jason Aaron did recently and it be underground again. Something like that. But there's several ways you could do a Celestial in this movie without the Avengers.
That's the hope. I mean, the one poster we have, it looks like it's looking over the shoulder or whatever, so maybe they'll fight it on Mars or something. I don't know. Sure, there we go. There's a Celestial on Mars. There you go. That's what the
So on the blue side of the moon, we're going to have Inhumans as well.
Yep. Yes, Mitch. We're going to will that into existence.
I mean, they're coming with Miss Marvel, so
true.
Like, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah.
Maybe the moon is a celestial, and it's going to all break apart, and then we're going to flood everything.
Well, that's because the moon is hollow. The lizard people told us that. Yeah.
Exactly.
So everything.
Lizard
hollow?
people are what? But deviants. So there you go. Just deviants.
So I guess that's the details on there. We don't know too much. Well, I guess let's quickly talk about this. When do you expect we get the teaser?
When's Black Widow coming out?
First week of May.
Right, so end of April.
I mean,
you look at every November movie from Marvel Studios. The first teaser's been in April.
This is the kind of and this one more than anything else, you want this trailer out there. More than anything, because it's such an unknown thing. It's.
Well, I'm gonna tell a quick little story because it's actually got related to this. We have a friend that's at the gym who only has watched a few of the movies of the Marvel movies and was sick, so he binge watched all of it.
He binge watched from Iron Man 3 to Far From Home in 4 days because he never saw anything after
rookie
Avengers.
Numbers,
dude. He
that
was
is a rookie number.
And he was like because he came in and talked to me while I was just walking, and he was like, okay, so I've looked at stuff, I'm real excited, Black Widow sounds good, Moon Knight, Blade, but man, Eternals sounds good. I'm like,
It's been a convert.
Out of everything that's been announced, Eternals caught your eye, and you're doing research and want to read that. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So I think there's something there.
Did you break it to him that they haven't had a run in a decade?
I did.
Oh.
I was
there's only 6 issues I can read.
I was like, dude, the last Eternals comic was mid 2000s.
I think it was 2008 was the last one, or 2009, something like that.
So the reason why I brought up that story is I feel like once we do get something publicly out there about Eternals, we're gonna have such a shift in people's hype when it comes to the next thing of Marvel movies, because here we had the hype of Guardians. This is basically, I feel like, Guardians on steroids.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's going to be a real amazing shift.
And I don't think even that, it's we're going to have the year, it's Black Widow. Okay, so a spy thriller movie. All right. Morbius. Okay, that's a darker vampire type thing. Slow, the action's there. Venom.
Trash.
Okay, it's more Venom. Oh man, flying through space, giant beings, colorful pyramids, floating things. It's I haven't seen this before.
Jolie's back.
Yeah, I think the first impression of Eternals has to be something.
It's going to focus on the cast. I can guarantee that. First teaser's going to be look, we have Selma Hayek, we've got Angelina Jolie, we got the fat guy from that one TV show who's now shredded to crap.
Yeah. We got the guy from Game of Thrones season 1 through 7.
Yeah. The guy from 1917. People keep talking.
Yeah. Season 8 didn't happen. Don't worry about that one, guys. Who else we got? Yeah, I think the cast and the visuals are going to be the major focus. That's got to be the smart decision they make. So, and
if I get cucked with Celestials in that first trailer, I'm gonna rage.
Just what the final scene will be the head of a Celestial, and that's it.
I will be mad.
They're not revealing a full body. I'm calling it right now.
No, I don't even think in any of the trailers they're gonna do the full body.
Here you go. The final scene is them all standing in a line, slowly looking up, and then the camera shifts to reveal just the head looking down, and that's it. Oh. That's all you're getting.
Actually, I'd like to say they won't be standing in the line. They'll be doing the circle because they'll be doing the Unimind. So.
Oh, all right. Well, fair enough. So
that was my well, actually.
What?
Well, no,
Well,
because of the fact that they won't be able to visually show it as well, it will only be like a half circle.
Oh.
And then, so you see them in a half circle, and then it goes up. Because if you have them in a straight line, you're able to see them behind. But if you have them in a circle, you can't. So it'll be only a half circle.
They'll do the Avengers spinning scene with the Eternals. Yeah. There you go. There you go.
Do it. It's essentially the same thing, but looking inwards.
So there we go. That's the Eternals topics for the week for you. I guess that's the end of the show. So there we go. So, want to know what's funny? What worked from last week? I put up that podcast and I put it up on Twitter. I was like, make sure if you don't like us, you listen to this entire thing and tell us you don't like us in what part. Our retention went up. Our numbers went up. Excellent. We made more, and they told us they don't like us. I'm like, you guys actually missed the point that you shouldn't listen to this if you don't like us.
Are you for real?
So carry on, carry on doing exactly.
But how do you know we don't like you?
So telling us you don't like us and listening to the thing to point out what part you don't agree with actually helps us keep doing this. I can't believe you guys missed. Jesus. So I'm going to do this with this episode, so help us make this episode another moneymaker.
It amazes me in a world where people like think they know how the YouTube algorithm works. Like they play right into it quite a lot.
Or stepped right into it. I was just like, wow, what a payoff.
It's like that dislike bar. No one cares. It just pushes it in the algorithm further.
It's pretty simple. Just ignore it and nothing happens. But if
Tristan, don't say that.
They're not going to listen anyway.
Don't want them to.
No, they probably got to this point. And they're not listening to Tristan. They're tuning him out, typing what part they didn't like.
I mean, people do that.
My favorite part is when they timestamp it so other people can hear it, and then they listen to it, then they click it, and it reloads and gives us another click and an ad click. I'm like, you people, you have missed the point of how to actually hate something, which is just to ignore it. But hey.
My favorite bit is where you'll get someone replying to something you said at the end of a video. So obviously they've watched enough to get to a certain point.
Oh yeah.
Can pause the video, type that they're mad about something without listening to you explaining, like carrying it on first. They miss the entire context of what you said, and then just carry on listening and don't even bother going back.
Yep.
It's just like, okay, cool.
It's amazing. I love it. The people, you have peaked. For those level-headed people that are obviously understanding how this works, that are here supporting us, thank you all once again for making it through this podcast. It's clocking in right under an hour, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We had quite a few lengthy topics, which is quite nice. It's it's easy and amazing how we can talk about stuff when there's stuff to talk about.
I was going to say 2020 has been feeding us good so far.
Yeah, it has. And just wait till everything starts shooting. Oh my god!
And we're not even in like the busiest year yet,
right?
We're just literally in the prep stage. Like we've literally just taken out the food out of the fridge, and that's it.
Yeah, it ain't even cooking yet. It's gonna start soon. It's gonna smell good. Then Shay's gonna leave it, and it's gonna accidentally burn a little too much.
Hey, I have not burnt my food in a while, so don't even.
You haven't burnt yours, but what about his?
I don't make his food.
Okay.
My food is just charred sitting there. It's like, oh man.
We do not eat the same stuff at the same time,
nope.
So we're one of those weird households.
There is that. Thank you, everybody, for listening to us. Hopefully, you guys are members. If you are, stay tuned, because we're going to talk about Sony's Multiverse. So hopefully we see you there, and we'll catch you guys next week.